Recently I was at a big meeting. It was planned for weeks and months, if not years, but this large group of Unity ministers and spiritual leaders were coming together from two related but different organizations. And there was a lot of anxiety about the meeting, a lot of anxiety about what would happen and how it would be received. So we did a lot of praying, and in fact, the group I was affiliated with spent the whole day prior doing a dry run of the meeting, talking about it, listening to the pitch and understanding what was going to happen. And so the 14 of us met the other 15 members of this other spiritual organization, and that next day we woke up early. I woke up early and went to a meditation a group of us had decided to have. So we spent the morning sitting in meditation, being ready, and then we got to the meeting, and the group we were meeting brought their keeper of the flame, their person dedicated just to holding the consciousness, like our prayer chaplains do. They sit holding the consciousness, the high watch. And their keeper of the flame's job in that meeting is only, not to speak, not to have an opinion, not to share hers, but to, he or she, this time it was a she, to sit there and hold the higher spiritual consciousness. So after our half-hour meditation, we did another hour-long process of meditation, right? Where we all prayed together. We did a ritual together where we were called on to name and claim who we were going to be in that meeting that day. Who we were going to be. So the question was put to us, who have you come here to be? Right? And we went, after we wrote it all out, the keeper of the flame walked around the room to almost 30 of us in the room and gave us an opportunity to name the 3 things that we were going to be in the meeting. And I sat there and I watched as people said, I am here to be peace. I am here to be love. I am here to be strength. I am here to be open. I'm here to be solid. I'm here to be a voice for positive thinking. And it came to my turn, and she put the microphone in my face, and I said, I'm here to be wrong. I'm willing to be wrong. I am willing to let go of my attachment to how I think it should be and to admit it publicly. So we went through the meeting, and I sat and watched it. The rehearsal was very handy because we had decided in our rehearsal of the meeting that we weren't going to participate. We were going to listen. We were going to listen. So a lot of stuff came up. A lot of hostility, a lot of words were directed at us as an organization and as individuals in a group. And we sat there not taking it personally, right? One of the 4 agreements, don't take anything personally. Really simple, not easy, right? Really simple and practical, but not easy. And the whole time I kept saying that, okay, I'm willing to be wrong about what I think and what I believe should happen, but also how this is all going to turn out. Be willing to be wrong about how it's going to turn out is an amazingly powerful place. So at the end of this day-long meeting, it came to this point. And people had brought up issues from 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 50 years ago, a point which none of us sitting in that room had any part in it. Right? But this cultural identity is carried forward by our belief system about who's right and who's wrong and how you should behave and how it should all work out. So at the end of this day-long session, and those of you who know me, and many of you do, not said a word. I was exhausted. That's a spiritual practice for me. Right? They were calling on a resolution to be said, that if we were going to do this whole meeting and this whole process, that we needed to put forth a statement. And someone suggested a statement, and I brought it over to the keeper of the flame. It was handed out to me. I brought it over to the keeper of the flame, and she read the statement. And in my head, I am screaming, absolutely screaming, right? And I said nothing. And finally someone said, well, that's really pretty, but it says absolutely nothing. If we're going to say a statement, let's have a statement that says something. Right? And I didn't have to say it. It's exactly what I was thinking. But I didn't have to be the one that said it. So that the other people, the other group, felt taken in, felt heard, and felt empowered. It's been an amazing lesson for me, this opportunity to be wrong, to not know. And I think it's a really important part of our spiritual practice that isn't given a lot of attention in Unity, because we talk about the power of affirmations and talk about claiming what you want and adhering to it and going forth and steadfastly applying your thoughts and your principles to manifest in this life. But often when we do that, we are bringing forward the pain and the wrongs of our past, right? And it's not conscious, we're not trying to do it, but it's our experience. Maria Nemeth talks about it this way. She calls it the structures of knowing, right? We all have them, structures of knowing in our lives, right? We've learned things by our experiences. And we go, oh, well, that's how the world works. We learn it when we're 2, we learn it when we're 5, we learn it, how old are you, Connor? 10, we learn it when we're 10, right? And then we carry them forward to when we're 40 and 50 and 60. And the structures of learning we learn it as a 10-year-old are vastly different that we're going to need when we're 40. But we keep carrying them forward. There's an old Buddhist story. It goes like this. A man is on a journey. This journey on down the road, and all of a sudden he comes to this stream, and there's no way to cross the stream on foot. So he builds this amazing raft. He takes wood from everywhere, he finds rope, he finds everything he needs to create this raft to get him across to the other side of the river. He gets on the raft and he journeys to the other side of the river, and he gets out, and then he takes the raft and puts it on his shoulder, and then starts to walk down the road again. For miles, and miles, and miles, and miles, and miles. All the time carrying this huge, heavy raft that he had built to get across the river. But he's now on dry land. And how often do we do that? Right? When someone has wronged us, or something didn't turn out as we thought it would, and we retract in fear. Maria talks about it this way. She says, the structure of knowing is a mental model of how things work. It contains all the thoughts, feelings, opinions, beliefs, attitude, memories, body sensations, and points of view that present our view of something, that surround our view of something, our present view of something. So our history all comes up. Everybody knows the expression, oh, I got triggered. Or more accurately, what we usually say is, you triggered me. He triggered me. Oh, that triggered me. As if we had nothing to do with it. Somehow that external thing caused our triggering. What it is the structure of knowing that we've decided that this is an encapsulated belief, and we're going to stick to it. We're going to stick to this belief and see, because it may have worked for us. They're all not always negative. It may be something that worked for you when you were 10 or when you were 20. It may have been a way of being that was very successful for you at one point. But you keep carrying that boat down the road where there's no river. You keep trying to lug that boat up the mountain and go, why is life so hard? What is life could be easy? What if it could really just be fun? Oh, what if it could be fun? JD and I recently had an opportunity to expand our lives. Something had come across us, and we're always looking for how to create more. What's the next thing? And we came across this opportunity to become faculty in residence at Stanford. It's just an idea, it's a thought that's going on in our heads. And we went to a couple meetings about it, right? It would mean we would live on the Stanford campus, they'd give us free housing and free food, and we would change our lives in that way. Instead of him commuting to Stanford, I would commute to here. And all the different things that swirl around that idea. And it's an idea of abundance, right? Without changing anything, how do you increase your income? We rent our house here, we do all these things. Roma goes to school in Palo Alto, one of the best school districts in the nation, for free, right? All those things, there's that possibility, and all the anxiety that comes with that kind of change. And as we were leaving the meeting, I said to JD, I said, why don't we just let the universe decide this? Why don't we put all our ducks in a row, see what happens, and then make the decision? Do we need to stress about it? And in that moment, we just said, you're right. It's a big pool. We don't know when our number would come up. We don't know if it would be this year, or next year, or 3 years from now. And why am I going to waste any time worrying about it today? We put in an application. We say we're open to this possibility. And we'll decide down the road. And that's the secret, too, to manifesting in joy. It's not being attached to the outcome. Not being attached to how you think it's supposed to be. In his book, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, Deepak Chopra talks about it this way. He talks about it as a law of attachment. And what he means by law is a natural order of how things work. Right? The law is, this is the, not imposed from the outside, but the internal workings of our mind. Mind, idea, expression, or spirit, mind, body. Everything exists in spirit. Everything exists in the infinite universe. We bring it into our mind as a thought, and it manifests here in the world. That is our basic trinity. The unity trinity, if you're looking for a Christian reference, is mind, idea, expression. Right? Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Mind, idea, expression. That the universe is constantly trying to bless you. The universe is showering you with everything you need. Your structures of knowledge, your deciding how it should be, is the only thing limiting your manifestation. When we can work in the law of detachment, everything opens up. In fact, Deepak says, the law of detachment says that in order to acquire anything in the physical universe, you have to relinquish your attachment to it. You have to relinquish your attachment to it. That sounds counterintuitive, right? It doesn't sound like it could work, but let's do an experiment here right now, right? So, does everyone want to feel secure? Right? So what does that mean for you? Think about it for a second. What is it for you that would make you feel secure? Right? Just hold it in your head for a second. Whatever comes in, don't judge it. Just look at what you need to feel secure. Right? Now, take another deep breath. And just release, let go of your idea of what security would be. Just release it. There's nothing that you can hold on to about it. It just slips right through your fingers. It slips right out of your hand. And think for a second, now in this moment, are you secure? Do you have what you need? Do you have air? A place to sit? Are you comfortable? Are you surrounded by safety and friends? When we're not seeking something down the road outside of ourselves, or in a certain specific way, we can achieve it instantly. In this moment, each and every one of us is secure. In this moment, no matter what else is going on in the world, right now in this room, and in this moment, we are secure. That doesn't depend on a diagnosis. It doesn't depend on a bank account. It doesn't depend on a job. It doesn't depend on anyone else. Attachment, on the other hand, is based on fear and insecurity. And the need for security is based on not knowing your true self. That's what Deepak Chopra says. The need for security is not knowing your true self. So who are you? Who are you really? I started this day by telling you, you are the divine. You are a divine expression. You are the unlimited power of God right here. And when you want to be attached to some other thing, to some other result, you're diminishing and hiding that beautiful light that you are. Often, when we're attached to things, even in creating wealth, they become symbols. Cars, bank accounts, money itself, status symbols, homes, clothing, material things are like trying to seek a territory by buying the map. It's not the thing itself. Those things are manifestations and they come effortlessly. The cars, the homes, the bank account, the cash come naturally and effortlessly when you know who you truly are. You are a divine expression. You are here to love and to be loved. You are here to realize that there is nothing that could diminish your light. There is nothing that can squelch your joy, except your belief that somehow you're not enough. Somehow your belief that poverty or lack is your destiny in this life. We teach this in the Absolute Abundance class, and I need to remind myself of it constantly. That struggle is not abundance. That working all day and all night is not abundance. That's lack thinking. That there's not enough time in the day. Prosperity is a good night's sleep, a vacation, a day where you just watch French movies and not understand all the words. A day when you play with your children or yourself. That's the real understanding of abundance. Knowing that you can have anything you want, anytime you want it, when you release your attachment to how it will show up. When you release your attachment to what it should look like and how everyone else should behave. You want to be wealthy? Be wealthy. Understand the true meaning of wealth originally meant well-being. That if I am realizing my true self, my wholeness, my completeness, that there is nothing on the outside that can keep me from it. The search for security, the search for security is an illusion. It will constantly keeping you walking down the road to somewhere else. It will constantly keep you unhappy for what you have right now. When you can detach from desire, you get into a space that is truly the sweet spot. It doesn't mean you stop planning. It doesn't mean you don't set goals. But when you can set a goal and live in the present moment, live in the perpetual now, you are open to the infinite possibility that always exists. You will see opportunities in turmoil. You will see opportunities in the chaos. And if you can take a deep breath, still yourself, and go, in the midst of all this chaos, I am waiting for my good. I could sit through that meeting at Unity Village and not have to open my mouth, trusting that each and every one of those ministers, who may not have been acting very ministerial at the moment, were as much God as I am, and that they will come to their own path, and that together we will all thrive. So what is it in your life that if you let go of it right now would scare you to death? Let go of your attachment to it. It would scare you to death. Is it a career goal? Is it a personal relationship goal? Is it a financial goal? Is it a health goal? If you could release your attachment to it, what might be possible in the day? Because often when we are attached to the goal, when we're attached to the final result, every step along the way becomes painful rather than joy-filled. If I'm trying to make my goal weight, and all I have in my mind is my goal weight, I'm fixated on I'm not there right now. And so it becomes about what I can't eat instead of what I can eat. Right? And that's a miserable way to live, from personal experience. It's a miserable way to go through it. And if I'm fixated on some larger goal that I think is best for Unity San Francisco, and not open to having the experience of being with the people who are Unity San Francisco, then I'm depriving myself of the experience and the joy that is doing this job. And just like all of you, I've done that. I've been in the midst of a situation and let the chaos consume me, rather than being in the midst of a situation and letting the chaos inform me of a bigger truth that's right there, letting the chaos show me a new way to reach a goal. You know, being on this path, that's why you're all sitting here, right? You're all on a spiritual path. That's why we're all here together, right? Whether you're being paid here to be a musician, or whether you're here as a volunteer, or whether you're one of the staff ministers or the other staff here, you're all on a spiritual journey, because you wouldn't have said yes to the job unless you were willing to sit here and listen to me. It would be an excruciating job, right? And Reverend Deanne, her too. And at the same time, you get to work out all your stuff. Those are the lucky ones who get paid to be here on Sunday, right? But we're all here for the same reason. It may be that you're sitting here to talk to the person next to you who hasn't been in a church or a spiritual center for decades because of the structure of knowledge that they've accumulated in their lifetime about what this is and how it doesn't work for them. Well, I know I walked through the doors of a Unity Church some 30 years ago and sat there the first time crying because my structure of knowledge about what a spiritual center or a church was so different than what I experienced in these seats. And I became a minister, not so that I could stand up here and tell you how easy it is or how I got it. I got this, guys, I got it. I became a minister so I could stand up here and tell you, wow, this journey is not linear. That I keep cycling back through the same things. But as we teach in spiral dynamics, you may be spiraling, but we're spiraling up. So we may loop around and do the same behaviors over again. But when we're awake, when we awaken ourselves, when we take this time to know the truth, we always spiral doing the same things on a higher level, and a higher level, and a higher level. So my goal for you today is to practice detachment. My goal for you is to let it all go. And to sit in the not knowing. To sit in the what if. What if I wasn't attached to a specific outcome? What might be possible? Right? Deepak Chopra has them nailed down in his book, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, to this for detachment. I'll commit myself to detachment. I will allow myself and those around me the freedom to be as they are. Right? It's in your spiritual practices this week, so you can just check the boxes. Right? But if you want to write them down, today I will factor in uncertainty as an essential ingredient of my experience. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what it should look like. I don't know what it should be. I don't know what the outcome will be. But I'm committed to being here for the journey. I'm committed to walking forward. And I'm going to put down the boat that I don't need to carry, so I can see what's around the next hill. Right? And number 3, I will step into the field of all possibilities and anticipate the excitement that can occur when I remain open to infinite choices. When I remain open to infinite choices, I don't have to worry about how anything is going to turn out. Right? So, for those of us in this congregation and our friends who have been devastated by fires, or for those of us in this congregation and our friends who have been decimated by hurricanes in this last year, and those of us who sit here and are decimated by turning on the news, what if we stopped pretending that we knew how it should all work out? What if we became open to infinite possibility? What if we could be happy at any moment? Happy. So when I went to the convention of these organizations back in June, they stood up on a platform and they read the announcement that we had crafted together in that day of not knowing and of not opening my mouth, as a joint statement of our unity, of our oneness together. And the whole congregation, the whole group of 500 ministers there, stood up and gave it a standing ovation. There's still work to do. We're still on the journey. But that had not been done in 60 years. 60 years of this organization. When we let go of how we think it should be, our dreams come true in an instant. In an instant. When we choose not to impose ourselves, but allow our divinity to speak volumes. Let's take that to our time of meditation.